So, right after Thanksgiving, we had our Bryant family, extended family, Thanksgiving on December 1st, and one of my cousins said something I never wanted to hear. And basically, she said, "Eric, you look just like your mom's dad." Now, let me show you a picture of my grandfather. We called him Pawpaw. It's his glamour shot. And I love my grandfather. And in many ways, he was very meaningful part of my life. He was very cool. Let me show you this next picture. This is how he rolled. That's my grandfather. That's him. It was also a lot of fun. We noticed in the 70s and 80s, all the pictures of me and my brother and our cousins, we had no shirts on. I guess growing up in Texas, you didn't need a shirt. And so somehow we kind of noticed that. We decided, let's make a new one. So here's a picture of us with our grandfather, a little grown up. My grandfather wearing his suspenders, as he always did, even with no shirt on. And then we did it again a few years later when my brother and I had kids. You can tell my nephew Luke did not like that, bottom right there. He's in counseling for that today. And then let me show you a picture of me and my wife, Deborah, with him. And my grandfather, in many ways, was a character. He was one of those people who you will remember him when you meet him. In fact, my wife, when we were dating, first met him, that same day had a headache just from the intensity of this wonderful man. And in many ways, part of what my fear has been becoming like him is there's this desire to become all that God's created me to be, but the flesh is weak and genetics are strong. And I even had told my wife just a few days before Thanksgiving that I'm starting to feel like I look like Pawpaw. I like ice cream like he did. He called his whipped cream calf slobber. He called his belly his table muscle. And I'm at that point where I'm going to either have to get a whole new wardrobe or really truly lose weight. And so when I heard that, it kind of rocked me for a bit. See, behind closed doors and the very gregarious and fun grandfather was also a man who struggled with addictions and anger and anxiety. And he could be mean. I've seen him make my mother cry over the years, and he was resistant to Jesus. And yet, I know that there's a difference between us. But when you say, I never want to be like my grandfather, what's the last thing you're thinking about? Your grandfather. You're perpetually trying not to be someone instead of focusing on who you could become. And so as we go into this new year, maybe you're one of those types of people who uses lots of hyperbole in your language. You love the word always and never and the best and the worst. And maybe you've even thought about this year as this is going to be the best year ever. Or this year my life will never be the same. And those can be really beautiful aspirations. But it's important to reserve absolutes for what's truly absolute. And to be more measured in how we look at the world. The beautiful thing about my grandfather, that last picture there, is he had kind of this shtick about him. So it was so embarrassing. We'd go into the restaurants and everybody knew him, but then he would hold his glass up and jiggle the ice to tell the waiter to come give him more to drink. It was so embarrassing. And he would do things like that all the time. And he had nicknames for us, and they were not compliments. He called my brother Catfish. And I remember my brother was probably 8 or 9 saying, "Papa, why do you call me Catfish?" He said, "Because a catfish is all mouth, no brains." I thought, I don't want a nickname anymore. He used to call Deborah Lightning because she got ready so slowly. And so the beautiful thing about my grandfather, near the end of his life, my wife was having a conversation with him because we could never get him to go to church with us. Until one day, she was talking with him, and he said, "No, darling, you don't have to worry about me. I do follow Jesus." The thing that breaks my heart is that was something he never shared with the rest of us. It didn't match the shtick that he had. And my mom, when she heard my cousin call me this, she sent me a text. Here's a text I want to show you. Look at what the time it was. It was 2:11 in the morning. This was 28 days after the event when I was told I looked like my grandfather. She ended up saying all these nice things about my grandfather, and then she says, you take it as a compliment. You got all the good parts, plus you know Jesus and follow God. So that is a tremendous way to live. Love, Mom. Emoji, 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 emoji. Because that's how she rolls. But it's a reminder that I'm a new creation. I actually have the Spirit of God, the same Spirit that rose Jesus from the dead within me. I don't have to become what my genetics or my flesh might want. And that can be true of each and every one of us, that we do not have to be the same person anymore. We don't have to fear becoming someone. We can actually experience a new life. Listen to the promises, these